I'm here with Phil, the real deal. Interview him for you guys so you guys get to know Phil a little better. Let's go ahead and get started. So Phil, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up as a child?
As a child, I actually grew up in Los Angeles. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. At about age 9, my parents ended up moving to Albuquerque, New Mexico. They're from here. They're from New Mexico, the northern part. My father's from Taos, my mother's from Mora. And I ended up growing up in this house that I'm in, this garage, where I'm working at. And so this is my childhood home, actually, from the time of 9 to about 18.
Phil, you're obviously still here in the Albuquerque area. So what do you do for a living, day by day that you use to make your money?
I work in the grocery industry.
Okay.
So I've been doing that for the past 20 years.
Kind of a manager, just clerk, or what?
In a management position, I do actually in-store shopping for customers that pick up actually curbside.
Okay, some of that too.
Yeah, I do that.
All right, especially with this COVID stuff going on.
Especially with COVID, yeah, we're really busy. I mean, we're talking sometimes 6 days a week, 10 hours a day.
All right, so Phil, now, if you had your choice and the money was right and you had all the money in the world, what would you do as far as interacting with others?
Well, what you know me for, actually, I'm a martial art teacher and practitioner. And I've been doing that since actually 1974.
Since 74?
Yes.
How many years is that? 30, 42 years? So you've been in martial arts since you were how old?
Since I was 14 years old. And
Okay.
I will be 61 here coming up in May.
Okay.
And so I've been at it consistently all the way through. And I started actually here in Albuquerque at age 14, 1974.
Okay.
When I actually moved away from Albuquerque, I went back to Los Angeles. I worked in the movie industry. And I was actually a tech. But I started the industry here in Albuquerque.
Mm-hmm.
Laboratory, a film laboratory back in 1975.
Okay.
I was 15. And so I worked my way through the system all the way up until I got out of high school. I actually worked on production work here in Albuquerque back in the 70s.
Wow.
And also worked in labs in the 70s. Then when I moved to Los Angeles, I had an opportunity to go to London Film School, NYU, USC, UCLA, or actually Canadian Film Board. But I ended up going to Los Angeles, moving back because that's where I'm from. And so I went to Sherwood's Film School, an independent film school. Because there really weren't no film schools at that period. They were just starting.
Okay.
And so actually when George Lucas did a movie called THX 1138, a science fiction film, I tried to get on to actually USC Film School, but it was too difficult to get in. So I went to an independent film school in Hollywood.
All right.
And I worked actually in some of the studios, in the labs, the old MGM, and also at Fox. From there, I landed up actually meeting another martial art teacher that I was actually seeking out. And actually, he became my primary teacher from 1979 all the way up until about a year and a half ago when he passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm actually first generation U.S. Wing Chun practitioner. Third generation from Ip Man, which is actually the one that my teacher and Bruce Lee, they grew up together, directly trained in. And you'll see these movies that are called, you'll see it says IPMAN, Ip Man. And so they have done 4 installments of this one with Johnny Yin. I'm actually direct descendant directly under Ip Man to my teacher and myself. Bruce Lee would actually be my uncle.
Oh, really? So your trainer, do you call them senseis?
Sifu.
Sifu? Mm-hmm. And that's in Wing Chun thing?
Yeah.
All right.
A traditional Chinese system.
And he was also a mentor or practiced with Bruce Lee?
Yeah, him and Bruce Lee, they grew up together as childhood friends. They grew up
Okay.
together as little
Wow.
friends. From youth all the way up until Bruce's death in 1973.
Now, did you ever get to meet Bruce Lee yourself?
No. I
Okay.
did not. Bruce died actually when I was 13 years old.
Oh,
So,
dang, it's been that long ago.
he died in 1973. Ip Man died in 1972.
Okay.
So here's the deal, to give you some history.
All right.
I actually knew and met Grace Lee, Bruce's mother, Robert, Phoebe, the sister, and the other brother. I did train with Brandon Lee when he actually came to the school in Culver City.
Okay.
Knew him. I actually knew Jim Kelly that played the Enter the Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Bob Wall. All those people that were in that movie, I got to meet them, and numerous amount of people, because working in the movie industry, you're around these kind of people.
So what you got in your lap there?
So, these are actually what they call butterfly swords. These are traditional weapons, actually, from the southern systems.
Uh-huh.
You'll see actually the Tiger and Crane, the Hongar set. And these are actually from the Wing Chun. These are double swords.
Wow.
So this is a set that was sent to me and given to me by a fellow Kung Fu brother, actually out of Northern California. He's no longer with us. He's deceased.
Now, they don't look sharp.
But these are not sharp.
Okay, if they were actual weapons, they would be sharpened.
Technically, yes. How it's done is you take your finger. Each individual practitioner will have one that fits them. So from the tip all the way here, this will be sharp. This will actually be not sharp.
Blunt.
Blunt, so that it's actually for tenderizing bone.
Tenderizing whose bone?
The opponent's bone.
Wow.
And this is used for slashing and filleting.
Wow.
And these pieces are actually used for like catching a weapon. Like you catch it,
Okay.
a sword or whatever.
Defense.
Yeah, and also used like brass knuckles, combined with actually breaking bone the same way on the backside.
Wow.
These are also made and designed so that they fit just like this as a guard.
Okay.
And say, for example, if you hit somebody or somebody's grabbing a weapon, you can slide down and cut their thumbs off or their fingers off. As you can see, it's to protect your forearm too.
Now, do you actually keep these on you at all times?
No.
Okay. That's good. So, Phil, basically your passion or your primary desire for doing something in this world is something in the martial arts industry.
Yes, actually I travel, like I said, all over the world.
Oh, you still travel and train people?
All over the world, all over the country. Yes, I do travel all over the world. You know that I travel also to Southeast Asia. I teach actually in Southeast Asia. And I also travel all over the United States and the Western world, teaching, promoting the art. And I've been doing this probably the past 20 years. So
basically, when you're not tied down to this gig with the food industry, you're doing that.
That's just a job.
Okay, so if you was able to be doing whatever you wanted, if this world didn't have all these bumps on it, what would you be doing right now?
I would be training extensively, even more, with more research, more study, actually breaking down the oldest part of the manuscripts to study them even more deeper. I'm not interested, once people went to like UFC or kickboxing.
Uh-huh.
To me, those are entertainment pieces for Western people. But I actually do a lot of studies actually into cultures.
So that's fun to you.
Yeah.
Digging deeper into the Wing Chun martial art.
Yeah. And also the other aspect, if I could do anything, was actually take some of these much older Volvos, restore them, and bring them back to completion the way that they were originally.
That brings me to my next point. Being a car guy, what's your favorite auto manufacturer?
Actually, Volvo.
Volvo is? Okay.
Mercedes, and then BMW.
All right, so you like the Volvos. I see you got a lot of Volvos here.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite Volvo that you've owned over the years?
The very first Volvo that I had was in 1985. If you remember, actually, IPD actually on their magazine had a gunmetal gray one, a turbo. I had one of those.
Okay.
The very first one I introduced.
Was that a coupe or a four-door or what?
It was four-door.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, the trunk lid was actually not round; it was flat.
All right.
And it was a gunmetal gray one.
So that was your favorite car of all time?
It was at the time, yeah. And I could kick myself in for getting rid of it.
Okay, so you're driving Volvos all the time. I see you got a few here. You're restoring, getting them up to tip-top shape. What car are you driving daily? Like over the last 90 days, what car have you driven more than any of your other Volvos?
The 745 station wagon.
Okay, now that's a turbo one, right?
Turbo one, correct. And that was actually got for I picked that up for $500.
Uh-huh.
The guy had it in a garage, sitting around probably for about a couple of years. We drove it randomly, but I had to restore the whole entire car, suspension-wise, and then mechanical-wise, and then harness-wise.
Now, how many miles did the car have on it?
96,000.
And how old was it when you got it? It was an 87. How long have you had it?
I bought it 4 years ago.
2017. So that car was 10, 20, 30 years old.
Correct.
30-year-old car. It only had 90-something thousand miles on it,
Yeah,
and the suspension was shot.
Yep, from just sitting the weight and compression. And it was bought in Connecticut from when I found out. I did talk to the old man that actually had it. It sat in the garage, and it just sat and sat. He drove it randomly, but everything was just slowly deteriorating.
Now, in my opinion, 740s are meant to make 1,000,000 miles, and that car didn't even have 100,000 on it, so it was a baby. But what you're telling me is mileage don't matter because age has a good factor too. So if the car is old enough, you still got to rebuild a bunch of stuff.
You have to, always.
Okay.
Especially in New Mexico with rubber.
All right, so your daily driver is a 745 turbo wagon. Awesome. We'll take a look at that. Now, what are you most proud of, maybe an accomplishment that you've had in your life?
Working in the film industry was one of them. But what became more important was actually teaching people all over the world in the martial art world. Because it's opened up doors so big for me that I'm even baffled with it sometimes. As an example, I was invited to the King's Palace in Thailand, in Bangkok, and spent time with actually the monks in conversation. When I was in Thailand, Bangkok, because I go every year, and I'm there for about 3 months out of the year, I got invited to actually the King's Palace.
Really? Because of your connections and experience and involvement in martial arts?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was able to actually sit down and have great conversations with the monks.
Okay.
Over life.
Wow.
And having meals with them. They were so intrigued with my knowledge and my understanding of their culture and how deep it is in the Buddhism, Zen, Taoism, Confucianism. They were shocked. But what made it even more intriguing was the fact that I was Christian.
Okay.
And they wanted to even know more how I knew so much as a Christian. So I sat with them for probably a good solid week.
So in their opinion, Westerners like you and I are not believed to have that kind of understanding and knowledge of their culture.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then on top of that, what's really unique too is to be able to sit down. Like I was in Germany in 2014. We got flown out. 3 of us were flown out to actually do a workshop and also a documentary that was created with that. So imagine staying at people's houses and traveling all over to go see castles, to like to people's
rice
houses.
paddies.
It's amazing. It's absolutely phenomenal. As a classic example, like I always go look for tacos. And I find Mexicans that live in different parts of the world that actually have taquerias. I found 4 places in Bangkok, Thailand that have Mexicans with mariachis and tacos.
So I'm running around looking for Philly cheesesteaks all over the world, and you're running around looking for tacos.
I can find a Philly cheesesteak in Asia. I can, because I know a guy from Philadelphia.
Okay.
They took me to him.
Nice. As a legacy, very few people would think about what kind of legacy they'd like to leave behind. What would you like to be known for after you're long gone from this planet?
To preserve a culture, actually, and also preserve a study is really what I'm doing along with 3 other guys.
Okay.
And bringing it to the Western world, because the Asians have a tendency, old school Asians, have a tendency to be real secret and hide it. We're like, no, we're no longer in a secret society. We don't live in that kind of societies anymore. And these are things that actually can benefit people. It's not tied to any form of religion. It's not tied to any form of that. It's actually who we are as people.
Okay. Good. Well, man, I appreciate you taking a few minutes out, allowing us the opportunity to get to know you. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of your cars and enjoy the rest of the day.
Sure.
So here's Phil's 240. Man, it's a relatively clean car when it comes to function and operation. This is the car that he says he drives daily. Look, he even got a couple of those blades on that license plate right there. But man, a Queen Bee or Panther doesn't have an engine bay this clean. And that's why they call it a red block, folks. The block is red. So here's that 740. Look at there. That hood opens straight up. I think this is the first car, the 760, had that vertical hood. Red interior. Odometer still works. 106,000 miles. Look at that. That interior was nice. That leather cloth mix. Those seats were real comfortable. I've driven thousands and thousands of miles in one of these 740s. It wasn't a wagon, but you guys seen the one that I had in my recent video. So there you have it. Phil 740 Turbo with the intercooler. Nice car. I think those wheels are off a 760. They're the 15-inch wheels. The one that came on the car were 14-inch wheels, unless they got those special part of the package. Thanks for watching. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.